What's going on, football fans? It's me, J.R. Clark, back again with another pound for pound ATL. This time, obviously, I'm not coming at you live, and I'm not joined by anybody. It's just me chilling here in my room. But I wanted to talk about, at least for a few minutes, um, our new hire, the biggest hire. Not biggest is weird. Obviously, Raheem Morris being the biggest hire as he is the new head coach. But we got the one of the first big. Um, additions to his staff. And who I'm talking about there obviously is our new offensive coordinator, Zac Robinson. Now, that he was heavily rumored when Raheem Morris took the job that Zac Robinson was going to join him here in Atlanta, but he was drawing a lot of interest from almost every job that had an opening, from the Saints to the Patriots to Pittsburgh to even Cleveland. He was a hot commodity as far as an up and coming offensive coordinator. Now, he has spent time as the passing game assistant or passing game coordinator and quarterbacks coach at the Los Angeles Rams. So, kind of let's dig into his background a little bit. So, he was a player. He played at the played for Oklahoma State, if I'm not mistaken, with Van Gundy or Gundy, not Van Gundy. That's the basketball guy, but Gundy, and uh, very prolific as far as just he had as many or more all-purpose yards than Tim Tebow did that year. That they played over 3,500 yards. He had almost 1,000 yards rushing. So he really kind of sparked that offense that Gundy had going. So he comes from an interesting and exciting school there as far as offensive football is concerned. Um, went he got late round. Yeah, he was a seventh round pick and in 2010 by the Patriots, if I'm not mistaken. So he played for the Patriots as a practice squad member or what have you. Played a little bit for Seattle, Detroit, and the Bengals. So after a 3-year career of being on practice squads, he kind of saw the writing on the wall and said, "All right, good. I'm good. I'm good there," and bounced. Um, Went to spend some time at PFF, everybody's favorite analytics site. I say that with joking and trying with all snark and intended, but he did spend some time on PFF. I'll link it on my Twitter if you're following me, but he actually did a breakdown of the Rams offense before he went and worked with the Rams. So I thought that was really interesting that he broke down McVay's offense before ever going to work for McVay. But in 2019, he went and joined the staff as an assistant quarterbacks coach, assistant wide receivers coach. He was, went back and forth as far as that goes. And in 2022 and 2023, he was a passing game coordinator and quarterbacks coach. The interesting part about him being the quarterbacks coach is, not only did he help Stafford get to probably, I think it was his highest completion percentage of his career, but he was also the main driving force of last year of getting guys like John Walford, Baker Mayfield, and this year Carson Wentz ready to play. And Baker Mayfield went on a pretty decent run with the Rams and credits a lot of his ability to do so to Robinson. Robinson got him going within 2 days of getting there. Played a game that Sunday and won, if I'm not mistaken. I'd have to go back and look, but he gives a lot of credit to Robinson for helping him get ready and helping him understand what he was looking at as far as the offense itself was concerned. So that shows you his ability to teach. I bring that up because that's one of the biggest things. Gone are the days of just telling a guy, "Hey, look, go run this route," or whatever. These players nowadays, they want to know the why of the situation. Not just want to. That's how it's being done now. The best coaches are the ones who can also teach it, right? Not just tell a guy, "Hey, this is what you're supposed to do," but have him understand why he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. And by all accounts, Zac Robinson is a guy who does that very well. He brings that nuance to the game. Um, Somebody on Twitter, Woon Carter, asked me if I was going to do like a breakdown of the scheme, and we're going to be doing that as the offseason goes on, especially with acquisitions, whether it be when we start looking at draft stuff, which will start to solidify as the staff comes together. And things like that. So, but as far as the scheme itself is concerned, um, it's it should be a variation of the Rams scheme. What does that mean, Jr? What is the variation of the Rams scheme? Really, it's not too terribly different than what we run now in a sense. Okay, I don't want y'all jumping off a bridge, but it's going to be a lot more 11 personnel than what Arthur Smith used. Arthur Smith was more a proponent of heavier packages, um, making everything look like a rundown, treating everything kind of like a rundown, and operating off of that. As to where Sean McVay, when he got to LA, that's what he was thinking. Like, that's part of what he was thinking, 2 tight ends, but the, roster that he had didn't necessarily lend itself to that, so he really went and leaned into the 11 personnel. Now, you can go and watch, JT O'Sullivan has done a video on Matt Stafford. Who was another one that done one? It was, the Underdogs draft guys. Colt McCoy, really was breaking down this year's version. And two of the things that make this offense go, and y'all gonna laugh. I said before that Sean McVay was really thinking that he was gonna be running a lot of 2 tight ends. His roster didn't dictate or didn't allow for that when he got there, so he really leaned into the 11 personnel. But if you watch what how these guys play, like, he treats, like, at times he treats Puka Nakua and Cooper Cup as a tight end as far as the blocking is concerned. Like, and asking those guys to take on linebackers um at the second level to open up the run game. And don't think that the run game ain't going anywhere, because Kerwin Williams was one of the best runners this season. They rely, like, Sean McVay's scheme is at its best when the run game is going. Okay, so don't think that we're going to get away from the run game under the tutelage of Zac Robinson. At least not in my opinion, because um, not only does our roster benefit that, which, side note here, I think it's part of one of the reasons why, like, when you're interviewing these coaches for these head coaching jobs, they have to, like, lay out their plan. And part of me thinks that this is what gave Raheem Morris a leg up, is you weren't going to have to necessarily blow it up. I mean, he went in there knowing that Zac Robinson was going to be like his choice at OC. I mean, you've seen the reports on Twitter since Zac Robinson has been hired. Um, Atlanta was just about one of the only jobs he was going to take if Raheem Morris got a head coaching gig. Raheem Morris got the gig here. He wanted to be here. Like, so if you're excited about Zac Robinson coming to Atlanta, as you should be, you need to be excited for Raheem Morris, because Raheem Morris is the reason why he's here. He wanted that he had developed a strong relationship with Raheem, and this was a way for him to obviously step up, go from quarterbacks coach, pass game coordinator, to OC now calling plays. Raheem Morris is obviously going to lean on him quite a bit. It'll be interesting to see how the rest of the staff uh, like fills out, because they interviewed a guy from LSU, a coaching guy from LSU for the OC job, but I wonder if that turns into like a wide receivers coach job or a different job on the staff to then have him learn under Zac Robinson. Because if Zac Robinson hits the ground running like lot of people think that he's going to, it's going to be like a Bobby Slowick type situation and a Ben Johnson type situation. People are going to come calling, especially in this day and age, and that's what you want. If people are coming calling, that means your offense is successful, right? Nobody was coming calling for Dave Ragone. Wonder why? Uh, since the offense wasn't successful here under the tutelage of Arthur Smith. Like, he wasn't able to execute the vision that he had. Now, obviously, we don't know if Zac Robinson's going to be able to, but if you go listen to him break down Sean McVay's offense, you can hear like his you can hear his understanding for the game. You can hear his understanding for getting his players in open space. Okay. Um, so you're going to go from a lot of 12 and 13 personnel back to a lot of 11 personnel, back to a lot of three wide receivers, a lot of bunch sets. Okay. You're going to get a lot of motion. These are things that are staples of Sean McVay's offense, which I feel like doing this the way that Robinson did, like, is going to be what he is going to bring. Now, his ability to run himself when he was in college um, does not, to me, close the door on getting a dual threat type quarterback. He himself is going to know and understand the importance of getting the yards with your legs and what kind of stress that can put on a defense, as he had done it himself. I know there's been some thoughts and rumors, not rumors, but like thoughts going around that maybe they would prefer more of an under center guy because the Rams operated under center at a higher clip than I think just about any other team. But we don't know if that's the style that's going that though we don't know if those are the tendencies that he's going to bring with him. I fully expect to see bunch sets. I fully expect to see a lot of motion. I fully expect to see a lot of like deep crossers. And then stylistically, I know y'all are not going to want to hear this, but stylistically, it's a lot of the same stuff. Now, I think it's going to be executed differently, and I think hopefully it will have a better flow to it than what Arthur was able to produce here. But there's a lot of similarities to what they wanted to do, what they were aiming for, because like all these guys come out of the same school of thought. Like Arthur Smith spent a lot of time with Joe Gibbs and a lot of time with under Matt LaFleur, who was, hey, guess what? Under Shanahan. It's all like a similar tree. And this is just the latest guy to come out from under there. So expect, heavy play action pass. Expect screen games to continue with Bijan and, getting dump offs to the, um, to the backs, which is like good. I mean, we saw the effectiveness when Arthur was able, remembered that and was able to call it. Now, I don't think he's going to be stuck in his ways as much as Smith was, because learning under McVay did a lot of different stuff this year with a lot of duo blocking and a lot of like inside zone. So I don't think it's going to be just strictly outside zone as far as the run game goes. But like I said, don't think that the run game's going away, because it's definitely not. It's not going to be chucking it 500 times a game. It's going to be, establishing the run, getting your play action passes off of that, getting your boots off of that, boots and keepers, like all these things are going to bring forth. I highly expect a more of a speedy wide receiver to either get drafted or signed. Wouldn't surprise me at all if Drake London got used out of, if any of y'all have ever heard the term power slot. That was kind of coined by a guy named Nate Tice, but he was talking about it uh, because of Cooper Cup and how McVay was using Cup. So I would not be surprised at all if Drake gets used in the slot a lot more, uses like benefiting his physicality. So um, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to dig in, and I'm excited to go deeper with um, the prospect of what Zac Robinson is going to bring. We'll have more in-depth breakdowns as we continue on. But yeah, we appreciate you stopping by. As always, you can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Grim1128. Be back live on Tuesday, 7 p.m. to talk. Hopefully, we'll have another guest on. And yeah, as always, Falcons fans, rise up.